This video is brought to you by Disney. How cool is that? Hey brother! Story time. Ben, when I was in 5th grade, our parents took us to Disney World for the very first time. They were there to run a half marathon because when we were kids, that was our parents' excuse to travel anywhere. Like, is there a race there? We better go. But that only took a few hours one morning. The rest of the trip was spent exploring each of the parks at Disney World. And we hit them all. Animal Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, but hands down our favorite was Magic Kingdom. And our favorite ride there was Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Which isn't a very fast ride, but they do give you a laser gun and let you shoot aliens, so you can imagine how much we loved it. And still do. We must have ridden this thing at least 15 times as kids, always trying to get the new high score, just being taunted at the end by the scoreboard that listed Galactic Hero as a 999,999, like, what? As if, am I right? But seriously, joking aside, getting a perfect score on this ride didn't even seem possible. It felt even mythical. And as we've grown up and researched as much as we have about Disney, and it's a lot, there have been a lot of other myths that have crossed our path. And guess what, you guys? Last month, Disney themselves brought us down there to put some of these famous myths to the test. Hey, brother! Myth number 1. The perfect score on Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Oh man, was I excited to put this one to the test. If you've ever been on the ride, you know that even getting a score of over 100,000 is no simple task. But the rumor is, if you know where to shoot, you can actually max out the score before you even leave the second room. And guess what? This is totally true, but it is not easy. In order to do it, there are several targets you're going to want to aim for, and I would recommend sitting on the left side of the cart to give you the best vantage point. 2 of the targets are in the very first room, the first one being on the left hand of the big orange robot. Now, it is moving, so it's hard to hit, but if you can hit it, it's worth a whopping 100,000 points. I mean, if you have good aim, you can get halfway there just right here. After you pass it though, immediately shift your attention to the upper right-hand section of the room, where if you look in the center of the claw, there's another 100,000 point target. Pro tip, as you exit the room, completely turn around and keep firing on this one. Once you're in the second room, focus on nothing except the top target on the volcano. That is worth 25,000 points each, and you get a nice long look at it, so you can really rack up the points here. And if you're still not there after that, just look for Zurg anytime he shows up. The bottommost target under his orange ship will also be worth 100,000 points, but it only shows up 2 more times. And once you know where to shoot, I mean, it's really not that hard at all. Just 3 tries later, I personally had 797,700 points. Yeah, so here's the thing. You definitely need to know where to shoot, but you also have to be a really good shot. Sadly, neither Ben or myself maxed out the scoreboard, but we do have a really excellent staff who were more than happy to ride the ride over and over and over until both Jordan and Derek got the maximum score. And a sticker. Myth number 2. Trash cans everywhere. As the story goes, Walt Disney himself hated trash, and so went to other amusement parks and literally just watched people to see how many steps it would take where if they couldn't find a trash can, people would just drop it on the ground. And the magic number he came up with was 30. So the myth is that while you're at Disney World, there is never a point where you are more than 30 steps away from a trash can. We decided to put this to the test. Trash can check. 10. Myth number 3. The American flags aren't real. When you enter Disney World, the very first thing you see is Main Street, USA, a bustling area full of shops, smells, and flags. Seriously, there are flags everywhere, all over the tops of the buildings. Or are they flags? See, according to US law, if you fly the American flag, then every day at sunset, you're supposed to take it down, which is actually why the flags at Disney World aren't flags at all. They're actually American pennants. Each one is actually missing a stripe or star or something to that effect, so that they are all perfectly allowed to fly all day, every day. The one caveat to this myth is this flag right here, which is a true
true American flag and is brought down each day by a veteran of the day.
Fun extra fact about the flags, not only are they there to help make the park feel more patriotic, but they are also acting as lightning rods. And Main Street USA isn't the only place you can spot the lightning rods. If you keep your eyes up to the tops of buildings, you can actually see them pretty much everywhere, but some of them are a bit more cleverly disguised. For example, outside of the Haunted Mansion, you could spot a few unique looking weather vanes in the shape of a horse and a bat. And actually, just below the bat on the Haunted Mansion lives another little bonus myth that sadly we couldn't solve. The story is that the structures are supposed to represent chess pieces, which was a common hidden signature for the Imagineer who designed the Haunted Mansion, Mark Davis. And you'd think this would actually be easy to confirm, but Mark has actually gone on record on several occasions and confirmed that they're supposed to be chess pieces and denied that they're supposed to be chess pieces, so your guess is as good as mine. Myth number 4. The lost wedding ring. Let's direct our eyes from the sky to the ground, where another myth says there is an engagement ring in the pavement outside of the Haunted Mansion. This fits in really nicely with the attraction itself, where the story of the ride is that a bride has killed 5 different husbands. So we did some searching and boom, myth confirmed. There totally is a ring in the pavement, but it's not outside of the attraction, it is on the inside while you're standing in line right next to the grave of Captain Klein, where, fun fact, if you press some of the barnacles, you can totally spray your friends with water. We also learned that apparently the ring did used to be outside and had a stone in it as well, but they decided to move it because people were apparently trying to literally pry it up out of the pavement, so don't do that. But that's why you're waiting to get on the ride. Once you get off the ride, there's actually another cool Easter egg you can spot.
While you're exiting the ride, what you're going to want to do is look to the left and look at the pet cemetery. Far in the back, you can see Mr. Toad, who was added to the cemetery after Mr. Toad's wild ride was taken away from the park.
The ring isn't the only thing you can find in the ground either. You can also see lots of hoof prints left from the ghost horses, but they aren't alone. If you keep your eyes open, you can also spot some hoof prints from the horse Maximus from Tangled.
Now, it's not uncommon while you're at Disney World for there to be details in the ground that you're walking on, but right here, just outside of Haunted Mansion, as you're walking into the Kingdom of Corona, there's a really cool one. It's the horseshoe footprints with Maximus written on it, and if you follow them,
they actually lead to his favorite snack, apples. And even if you look at the ground here, you can see some scattered cores and C's in the pavement.
It's also a great place to take a selfie.
oh man,
Oh,
yeah,
that was a
turned out
really good one.
Hey, trash can check.
Oh, 4. Gotta make it a little harder.
Myth number 5. The hidden conversation. Legend has it that whilst you're browsing through the shops on Main Street USA, there is a phone you can just pick up and start listening to a never-ending conversation on. Our first challenge on this one was just finding the right shop because there are a lot of them, but eventually we did. It is off to the right before you even head down Main Street. It's the Hat Shop, which is also a great place to pick up some ears for the day, which of course I totally did. But more importantly, it houses a very mysterious old phone.
We found the phone. Now let's check. Aha! Yes, you totally can. Oh my gosh. Hold on, I'll hold it up to the microphone so you can hear it.
Confirmed. Myth number 6. It took an act of Congress to allow the presidential seal in the Hall of Presidents. This myth is rampant, but the basic story is that the presidential seal you see in Liberty Square in Disney World is one of 3 in the entire country. One in the Oval Office, one outside of the actual Liberty Bell, and that one. But this is simply not true, although it's easy to see where the confusion comes from. It is all thanks to the 1971 amendment to the U.S. Code, which discusses how the Great Seal of the United States may be displayed. The amendment clarifies that it's acceptable to have in use in libraries, museums, or educational facilities incident to descriptions or exhibits relating to seals, coats of arms, heraldry of the president, and fitting to its name, this 1971 amendment went into effect on January 5th, 1971, which also happens to be the same year the Hall of Presidents opened at Disney World. So yes, there was an act of Congress, but it had absolutely nothing to do with Disney. Also, trash can check! And there you go, guys. Those are our top 6 Disney myths put to the test. Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what other Disney myths would you like us to investigate, or are you curious about? Let us know in the towel section down below. If you want even more Disney action from us, make sure you go check out this video right here over on the Jonathan Carlin Vlogs channel, where Ben and I are discussing our entire epic trip down to Disney World and what it was like shooting behind the scenes and on site and everything. And make sure you go follow the Best Day Ever Instagram account for even more behind the scenes fun with us. Link for that in the description down below. And thanks again so much to Disney for sponsoring this video and bringing us out to Disney World to test these myths for you guys. Ben, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.